Alright, I had another comment with someone with some issues setting the input levels on the RC300 Boss loop station. So we're going to go through that in this video and hopefully solve some of your issues. Okay, there seems to be some misconceptions about this. I've had a few people with feedback, with just bad sound coming out of the RC300. So we're just going to go through setting the input levels. What you have to set this is you have 3 dials for the auxiliary input, your instrument input and your mic input, and they share one peak light. This peak light is very important. We do not want to see it red. That is a bad sign. Okay, the way I describe this for hopefully you'll get a picture in your head is that red light, essentially we're trying to make our signal level have enough space to go into the RC300 and not get cut off at any point. And it's a little bit like if you had a doorway and the doorway was here, this high, if I walked into it, part of my head would get chopped off. I know it's a terrible example, I'd be like smacking my head, it would be unpleasant. But essentially we need to make sure that either the person is under this level, right, or that this level is above our person so we can walk through, and we're going to demonstrate that. So let's actually get onto the instrument and settings. I just have a guitar plugged in, so I'm going to turn down the mic and the auxiliary inputs. For now they're not being used, just so we're clear on what's happening. I'm going to start with the instrument level set at 12 o'clock, and on my guitar I have this turned up 3/4 of the way, so not maximum, I've got a little bit of room to move up, but also I'm giving enough good signal into this into this loop pedal. So let's just play a chord and see what happens. Oh my gosh, the peak light lit up. So what that means at the moment, some of that sound where it's hitting into that doorway, it's smacking its head, that signal is being cut off somewhere. You're not getting the full sound of your guitar. So let's turn it down until we don't get that peak light. So let's try this again. Okay, great. All of that signal went through clean, no peak light, unaffected. What happens if I get really into my song later and I'm strumming a whole lot heavier? Let's check. We're still good. We've still got full signal. Okay, I'm a loop artist. I build grooves on my guitar. Alright? The loudest thing usually is when I hit and get that kind of kick sound. However you do it, whether you do it this way, whatever. So let's just, oh, okay, first one. We're still getting a bit of that peak light, so I need to turn this down a little bit further on the input level. Now, I should have started this video out by saying these input levels are gain settings. They are not a volume for your guitar, for your mic. Once we set these, they're going to stay exactly the same pretty much forever, unless you change the volume level from your guitar, or you maybe include different effects or a different microphone. It's going to stay exactly the same. We're going to stay under that peak light coming on. So let's test this again. Hey, I think we found our happy place. I'm not getting any peak lights when I make the loudest sound. Amazing. So let's now set up a microphone. So my guitar is plugged in. I'm just going to leave it to the side, and we're going to set the mic level. We're going to do the same thing. I'm going to start at just 12 o'clock just to give a test. Those of you that know the RC300 know that the mic level setting is pretty sensitive. We're only going to be turning it up a little bit, but I'm going to start at 12 o'clock to give you an idea, and this will depend on how loud you sing, the type of mic you're using, and if there's anything else in the signal chain from your mic before it plugs into the RC300. So let's see. Okay, if I talk normally into this mic, you can see that our red light is lighting up. I'm getting cut off at the chest right now. In my door analogy, it's like a lot of that signal is not making it through. So let's turn it down and we'll see how we go. Okay, I've turned it down quite a bit. I'm talking into the microphone. We are still getting a red light. We do not want any red lights, ever, on this peak light. So, turning it down. Ooh, no peak light so far. So, what I need to check is when I'm really getting into a song and I sing my loudest, am I going to still peak that light? Where are we at? Hey! We peaked. So, I still need to turn it down more. Yes, the setting is incredibly low. And let's test out, again, me just letting out a decent sound. Hey! Okay, looks pretty good. That's about as loud as I'm gonna be. So we're good. Now, the big question that happens now, these levels are not going to change. We've set it so that when I play my guitar and when I sing, the levels, they're going to make it through without that peak light coming on. But, as you know on the RC300, both of these signals get combined together and they come out the other end. So let me check, because what happens now is people try and mix their levels to balance if the guitar's too loud and the voice is not loud enough or that sort of thing. The only way we can mix these levels now is by turning that input gain down further. We're not going to turn anything up because we're going to hit that red light, and that's going to mean clipping. That's going to add distortion and make our sound just much worse, and it's going to become more and more noticeable as we play into bigger and bigger systems. Whereas you might not pick it up on headphones or just a little like a little amp in your room. When it gets amplified through a really nice big PA, suddenly we're going to notice that that vocal, it's distorting. So let's check out what levels we've got. I'll plug in some headphones and have a listen, and we'll balance these two sounds out. I should note, this is probably not the most ideal way to do this, but if you're doing it at home, it's an easy way to check, and you can again adjust this a little bit when you do a bigger show, or you could record into something else so that you're not singing and playing at the same time to hear if those levels are a good combo. Okay, this is my audio now of both guitar and vocals. I have some lovely reverb happening. It's on the unit, but if I play a song, I remember the trip we made when I was not okay. I made you sleep upon the floor. It seems like those levels are pretty good. I'm happy with that. What if I wanted more vocal? If I want more vocal, what I need to do is actually turn down the guitar. Why? Because if I turn up my vocal on those input levels, I'm gonna get that red light, the peak light, which means I'm clipping my vocal, which means I've got a worse sound, I've added distortion. So once you've got your maximum levels, you don't want to go above that. If you need to adjust the balance between guitar and vocals, you're going to turn down whichever is too strong. Alright, so if my guitar was too strong, I could turn that down a little bit to have the vocals come through the mix more. I'm only going to adjust them slightly. It just means there's a little bit less guitar and a little bit more of my vocal. But at no point am I getting that peak input light. So I've now set my levels. It's great. We're good to go. Amazing. One last thing I want to do in this video is I just want to show you the waveform between a clean signal and one that is clipping. And so I'll play the same little riff. This is a riff from one of my songs. I'm going to play that and I'm going to just do a simple groove. Let's look at the waveforms, but let's record another version now with a lot of clipping. So we're going to turn that instrument level right up and show you the difference. This is purely to demonstrate so you can see the wave getting chopped off. Okay, we're in clipping territory now. Let's go there. So, same riff. And our groove. And let's look at the waveforms so you can see what's happening. Let's just quickly look at those waveforms in Logic and you can see what I'm talking about. This is the first one and you can see that our range, it varies a bit. This was a little bit louder here and no worries, the dynamics are still there. And the same if you look at the peaks here, you'll see there's quite a big difference in how I played that rhythm. The softer ones remain softer, the louder ones remain louder, and everything got through. If you look at this bottom version, you'll notice that there's like a ceiling. It's like we lowered that doorway where everything got cut off at a certain level. I'll play them in a moment. Same story with this one. You'll notice there's all these little straight bits across the top. There's a level where it kind of hit, and anything above that basically just got squashed back under. So let's just have a listen. This is our first one, the chords. Cool, and the second one, chords. What you can hear is distortion on those parts that are flat, that show that basically something was above there that would have been a nice curve and it got chopped off by that peak light coming on. If we go back, the first one, we're going to play the groove. Cool. It sounds just exactly like it does on the guitar, no worries. Second one where it's being clipped, where that peak light is on and everything gets flattened at a certain level. Have a listen. Okay, you can hear the distortion, and while occasionally it might be an interesting effect, you want to do it intentionally, not on every song that you're playing. So just be aware anytime that peak light is showing on the RC300, you are clipping your signal and adding distortion to your sound.